I'd like to talk for a moment about a consultant's value proposition framework. Consultant's value proposition. It generally starts on a functional level. Since I'm a management consultant, and I'll highlight the management functions of planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling, with the understanding that controlling influences staffing. I think you'll see there's a human resource component to my conversation. But let me start at that functional level and say that your goal as a management consultant is one of learning and growth. Um, there's a leading edge of innovation attached to that, but learning and growth is a basic function. You want the clients to learn from you. Perfectly positioned for that. I've been a professor at numerous universities around the country for over 30 years. Uh, so when I look at strategic competition, strategic competencies for these business functions and strategic technology for these business functions, as well as whether or not the company you're consulting with has a climate for functional action in those function areas I talked about: planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Okay, so that's the bottom level of consulting, learning, and growth. Now, if all goes well there, your focus then moves up to relationship building. Um, Contained within that is integrated planning. What I mean there is you don't want to plan in a vacuum. You want to plan considering marketing, operations, finance, uh, all the major departments in a normal business, technology, of course, and a lot of your role presents itself in your service agreement. Okay, so as you're sitting with the potential client, that service agreement really dictates your contract. Now, as you continue consulting with clients, you want you want your relationship to develop. Okay, so how does that happen? With client feedback. You want to ask your client how you're doing, as much as you can. How am I doing? How am I doing? Okay, because you are wanting to be client focused here. All right, so that takes us up to process analysis. Process analysis. Now, what do I mean by that? You want to be a partner to the business units. You want to help those business units develop whatever business units, if you're in all of those units I discussed earlier, or if you're specializing in one or the other. You want to help that business unit develop. All right, so that means you're providing strategic support to that business unit. Strategic meaning 5 years. Okay, not tactical, not a one-off quick little project, right? And hopefully you're moving this business unit into process operational excellence. Process operational excellence. Okay, now, I'm going to talk later about efficiency and effectiveness, but right now on this level of process consulting, you want for the two of you collaboratively to define what success looks like. Okay, just don't decide in your own space what that is. You and the client try to decide what that is. Okay, so you're then back to my conversation about the customer centered consulting, customer based strategic planning. You're the trusted coach and advisor, and I consider you as a business partner. Hopefully, your client also considers you as a business partner. And so this framework then is functional effectiveness. I started all the way at the beginning of this conversation about um, learning and growth within the functional units. And so you want functional effectiveness, right? You want your strategic solutions to be effective. Now, sometimes this is um, in contrast to functional efficiency. Okay, objective after objective has to be looked at as the internal customer as being efficient or not. And sometimes that's in contrast to effectiveness. Now, as a consultant, I usually work on effectiveness, but the client is, of course, concerned about efficiency. So, this is my tall, deep conversation of what I call value, customer value. Now, if it's a publicly traded company, this then translates to shareholder value. All right, I hope this makes sense. Hope this makes sense. It's a value proposition model that has worked for me since I've been consulting. I started consulting in 1992. This has worked for me time and time again, client after client after client. Thank you for listening, Dr. Hamilton.